A lot of people ask me if I remember anything because I was so little when I came. I think in some ways I felt older than I do now at 9.5. So I remember tremendous amounts. I mean, and I think that maybe immigration actually made me remember more because it was such a big event to happen in a kid's life. So it puts everything, like from then on I always had a before and an after, so you kind of have this marker in your life from which you're counting everything. I have tremendous amounts of memories of just my parents and my family doing things with me, and there's obviously things like music and going to see, ballets and some operas. I think I only got to go to the Bolshoi once and to see an opera, and it was amazing. Both my parents are very artsy people. And my mom was a conservatory professor. She taught theory and solfege, and she plays piano. And my dad, he played in an orchestra in his 20s, but then he also was really interested in photography and videography and science. And there was this whole community of people that collected Western music and things like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and tons of other stuff. And I was really lucky because I grew up listening to the Beatles since, before I can remember. I definitely saw the struggles, and I listened in to adult conversations a lot, even though they didn't necessarily want me to. But so I did have awareness of this hardship and this struggle, and there were times, incidents that, where I was definitely reminded, oh yes, you're a Jew and, you're different. But I think overall it was also a really magical, exciting time. I definitely knew way before, my cousin knew, because I have a cousin who's the same age as me, and 2 weeks and 1 day older than me, and we're like very independent twins, I guess. But I've always liked hanging out and listening to adults have conversations, and I started seeing things about letters from America, and the word America kind of came into my consciousness, and then I became convinced that we were leaving. I understood it, and I went and I told my cousin, and she didn't believe me. And she went, and right away she asked Grandma, and at that time it was you really couldn't talk about it. Like, everybody waited till the last possible minute, and Grandma said, "We're not going to America, but we're going south." And so we just envisioned these like really warm, tropical, jungle book locations, and we would have these prolonged conversations about, I'm gonna have 2 pet lions and a cheetah and a parrot, and then, she would say, no, and I'm gonna have, a herd of zebras, and we for some reason decided that it was Jungle Book, and we'd be able to talk to animals. When we got to Vienna, I remember the feelings of like just herds of people. You were always with people, and it was hard. There were like some elderly people in wheelchairs, and people were moving them in suitcases and things, and you just saw a lot of panicked faces everywhere you looked. But when we got to Vienna, we stayed in a room, and there was bunk beds, and there was no floor because the whole room was bunk beds. And we were traveling as 6 people with extended family, and then there was another elderly couple there, and it was just kind of a thing. You really did feel like you were in some sort of a, I don't know, like strange camp or something. It's like you're in Italy in the summer, and it's beautiful, but you can't have gelato. You can't have this, you can't have that, because you have no money. So it was just this interesting thing where, like, our parents had to be really patient and just be like, no, I'm sorry, At another time, you'll come back to Italy later when you're grown up, and you can have anything you want. New York is my home. Like when I start to see the green street signs, I'm just like, there's a part, I love landing here and knowing that I'm on my way home. We were very lucky because we had a lot of relatives that left Russia earlier than we did, that left in the 70s, and they really helped us. I mean, they helped us find everything. They were the ones that helped us find the 2 apartments in Kingsbridge that were like 2 doors across from each other, me and my cousin. It was like it had been our dream. And our parents were really serious about being interested in Judaism. So the Kingsbridge Center of Israel, where, they still go, and my brother was, he had his bris there and his bar mitzvah there, and he's the first American in our family. It's kind of the Jewish community in Riverdale and Kingsbridge sort of became very quickly this place where we felt really at home. And it was just one of those things that was like when my mom was pregnant, all these people just gave her maternity clothing, because we really had like nothing, and everything that we had for him was somebody's, and it was really, really nice. People gave us plates, people gave us forks, people gave us furniture. And I think about that a lot. I think about what my parents left and what their sacrifices were, and most of the time when I look at them, even when they struggle or they have certain struggles, I feel like they're so happy that they're here. They have such calm that they have here that they wouldn't have there. They really love going to synagogue, and they really love that both me and my brother get to do what we want. And my mom is a teacher in Yonkers. The school where she used to teach is called Parker Elementary, and she had this really amazing class of students, and this really great band class. We went and shot on the radio in the school, and it was a really amazing experience because all the kids were so excited and cute, and we had everybody from the kindergartners to the entire elementary school band come and play on the song, and I got to pretend like I was a teacher.
This is how it works. You're young until you're not. You love until you don't. You try until you can't. You laugh until you cry. You cry until you laugh. And everyone must breathe until their dying breath. No, this is how it works. You peer inside yourself. You take the things you like, then try to love the things you took. And then you take that love you made and stick it into someone else's heart, pumping someone else's blood, and walking arm in arm. You hope it don't get harmed, but even if it does, you just do it all again. And on the radio, you'll hear November rain. That solo's awful long, but it's a good refrain. You'll listen to it twice, 'cause the DJ is asleep. On the radio, on the radio, on the radio, uh-oh. On the radio, uh-oh. On the radio, uh-oh. On the radio.
Teaching and learning are just, they're some of the most exciting things to me to do, and so right now I'm in the learning stages, but maybe someday I'll teach something. It's like when somebody asks me where I'm from, sometimes I just say the Bronx, and then I think doesn't really make sense, but in some ways I feel so from the Bronx, and just somebody who's from a Russian family but from the Bronx. And then other times I feel very, very, like I'm so Russian. I'm so from Russia, even though I came very young. I have friends that came when they were older than I am, and in some ways they seem less Russian than I am. But I think it's just because I really love, I really love the culture and all the arts and the books, and I just get so, I guess in some ways I'm a Russophile. I started out completely independent, making my music independently and doing stuff in college, and then, you know, with a friend, and everything was always on such a budget, and you only had like one day to record a bunch of stuff, or you had a week, or you know, you had 2 weeks with a few hours here and a few hours there, and it just makes you just have to, you know, you just have to do it, so you do it. It's actually harder to have, you know, a lot of time, and you could come back to the studio in a month and try this or do that. Or I mean, I love working in the studio, and I don't think I'd be able to live without it, without that time and without that fun. I like being by myself, or, you know, with very few people and just doing art. It's my favorite thing. But then my other favorite thing, I don't think I could ever be like, you know, a recording artist and not play shows, because shows are just some of the most in the moment feeling that you can have, and they just make me truly happy.
Sorry, that scared me. I'm easily spooked. Okay. I love you too. Thank you so much.